Huh?
Stop it.
Yes, yes.
Okay, the president did say that if you're going to come with a plan. So do you have a plan?
I got a big plan. The first question is, does the president want to continue reckless spending or find a way that we can be responsible, sit down, and find common ground where we put ourselves on a path to budget, make a balanced budget?
Thank you.
Ready?
Speaker, how'd it go in there?
You know, the president and I had a good first meeting. I shared my perspective with him. He shared his, and we agreed to continue the conversation. We want to make sure we do this in a responsible, reasonable way, and we'll be talking again.
Do you think that the odds of a default are growing, shrinking? Where would you place them right now?
Look, I think our first meeting was a good meeting. I don't want to put it in any false perspectives. We both have different perspectives on this, but I thought this was a good meeting. We promised we would continue the conversation. We'll see if we can get there. I think at the end of the day, we can find common ground.
He says that he is not going to negotiate a deal. Is that the message that he expressed to you today, or do you think that he will?
Look, I don't want to put any words in his mouth. We had an hour conversation about this that I thought was a very good discussion, and we walked out saying we would continue the discussion. And I think there is an opportunity here to come to an agreement on both sides. And I think that's the best I think that's what the American people want. Look, they want us to be responsible and sensible about this. And that's exactly the way we've handling it. I told the president I would like to see if we can come to an agreement long before the deadline. And we can start working on other things.
Mr. Speaker, where should those budget cuts come from right now? Medicare and Social Security, the White House insists Republicans want to cut. What cuts do you want?
Well, let me be clear about that, and I've been clear many times. No, we're not talking about that. And to really be able to do this right, I'm not going to negotiate this in the press, right? I respect the conversation we had together, and we will continue that. I've been very clear. The current path we're on, we cannot sustain. We got to change the trajectory to put ourselves on a path to balance. How we get there will be our discussions. What we talked about today was about moving forward and how we move through on a debt ceiling and how we get an agreement. I believe if we're able to get to an agreement, we could have a funding agreement for the next 2 years. You won't see omnibuses anymore. You'll see the Senate and the House actually do the job the American public has elected them to do, to walk through the appropriation process, which is the manner in which to do it, where the American public can see where we're spending our money. And I think there's a lot of savings we can find for the American taxpayer. Look, this is the hard-working taxpayers, and I know there's a lot of places where there's wasteful Washington spending. And I find that we can find an agreement there.
Growing and growing. We're worried that their kids' future is going to be buried into that mounting debt. What do you tell those?
Can you commit that the U.S. will not default on its obligations?
Look, if I look at anything and you want to equate this, if you have a child and you give them a credit card and they spend that limit, you're responsible for paying that credit card. But the responsible thing, too, is going forward, not just raise the limit, but look at how you're spending. You know, I look at Chuck Schumer. He's never passed a real budget. He's never passed any appropriation bills, but he puts a $1.7 trillion omnibus coming through. The American public doesn't want that. This is their hard-earned money. They don't want government to take more of it. They don't want it to waste it. So now is a moment in time. We've got 5 more months. I've just walked out having an hour conversation with this president that I tell you in perspective was a good conversation. No agreements, no promises, except we will continue this conversation. I want to continue it on behalf of the American people, on behalf of the parents, on behalf of every taxpayer here, that we put ourselves on a trajectory that makes America stronger, secure, and balanced.
When will you meet with the president again? When will you meet with the president again on this?
Ja, das ist